When I was 13, I drowned. At least, that's what everyone thought. It was the summer of 1963. My parents had sent me away to stay with my uncle in a remote fishing village called Okitsu, nestled against the dark, jagged cliffs of Suruga Bay. They said the air would be good for me, that I was too pale. The Tokyo was rotting my nerves. They didn't know what waited for me out there. I arrived on a humid August afternoon. The village was smaller than I expected, maybe 20 homes, all warped and leaning from decades of salt and storms. The locals wouldn't meet my eyes. One old woman spat into the dirt when I passed. Another muttered a prayer under her breath and tucked a charm into her sleeve. My uncle's house sat alone, high on the cliffs. The locals called it Shino-koya, the death hut. That night I woke up choking. My bed was soaked, not with sweat, with salt water. I coughed and hacked and screamed, certain I was dying. My uncle rushed in and stared at me with an expression I've never forgotten, not fear, recognition. "You heard her, didn't you?" he asked, trembling. I couldn't answer. The next morning, I explored the shed behind the house. I don't know why I felt drawn to it. I had a dream the night before, of a voice calling me by name, over and over, from beneath the floorboards. Inside the shed, under rotted fishing nets and a moth-eaten sailor's coat, I found the lantern. It was cold, ice cold, despite the August heat. Black iron, crusted with rust. Carved along its surface were symbols that twisted the longer I looked at them, as if they wanted me to read them, but not understand them. Inside the lantern, instead of a candle, was a mirror, cracked, fogged. But I could see something moving, behind the glass, waves slow and sluggish, and behind those waves, a face, a girl, eyes open, mouth slack. Her hair floated around her like seaweed, then her eyes rolled and locked on mine. My uncle burst in, shouting, "Put it down!" He looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 seconds. He didn't touch the lantern. He used the net to drag it into a wooden crate, nailed it shut, and poured salt around it in a perfect circle. "You saw her," he said. "She knows you now." That night, he told me everything. My uncle's tale. It was summer 1927. I was 12. My father found that lantern floating in the surf after a storm. We thought it was some antique, something valuable. He cleaned it, brought it inside, and hung it on the porch. The next morning, our neighbor's son, a boy no older than you, was found washed ashore, lungs filled with seawater. His face was twisted, like he'd seen something no one should see. My father blamed the tides, but that night, I woke to find the lantern glowing, pale blue, like moonlight under ice. I went outside, drawn to it, and standing there beneath it was a girl, dripping wet, barefoot, her skin the color of driftwood. She asked me to light the lantern. She said she was cold, that she'd been waiting for someone who could hear her. I ran. I didn't sleep again for weeks. Then the death started, always at night, always drowned. No water nearby, sometimes in locked rooms, always with the same look on their faces, mouths open, eyes bulging, hands curled like claws. And the worst part? Every time someone died, the lantern glowed brighter. Eventually, the villagers begged the monks from nearby Shimizu Temple to intervene. They came with charms, prayers, and ropes soaked in brine. They said the lantern wasn't cursed. It was a gate, a beacon for something trapped beneath the bay, something ancient, something starving. They sealed it and dropped it into the deepest trench of Suruga Bay. That should have been the end, but now it's back, and it called to you, back to me. 1963. That night I dreamt of the girl again, but this time she wasn't in the mirror. She was in my room, standing at the foot of my bed, head tilted, water pouring silently from her mouth onto the floor. She held the lantern out toward me, whispering, "Light it." I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. My chest was heavy, filled with cold, briny water. I felt it spilling out of my nose, my mouth, my ears. When I woke, I was outside, face down on the rocks near the shore, barefoot, drenched, lantern beside me. My uncle never spoke to me again after that. He packed up the house and left Okitsu a week later. Now I'm an old man. I've kept the lantern sealed, wrapped in net and blessed cords, submerged in a tub of salt water in a reinforced steel crate beneath my home. But every August, on the lowest tide, the salt goes black. The mirror clears, and I see her face again, closer now. Less drowned, more alive. Last year, I swear she smiled. I don't know how much longer I can hold her back. If you find this letter and you ever hear the ocean whisper your name, or see wet footprints on your floor that don't lead back to the door, don't follow them, don't open the crate, don't light the lantern. She's waiting.